What's going on, main characters? It's your boy Talks Too Much with Third Party Studios. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about Ubisoft, who gave us all a sneak peek at their gameplay footage from Assassin's Creed Shadows, and while there is a lot of mixed feelings about it, our opinion on it was that it looked generally boring. So we'll be talking about that and quite a bit more in today's video. If you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel, smash that like button, share the video out there. With all that out of the way, let's get into it. Hold on, intro. It's intro time. Shush, everyone shut up! First story of the day, Assassin's Creed Shadows. Gameplay, okay, from that park place, we have Francesco Solbach. Assassin's Creed Shadows gameplay. Twitch stream shows a buggy, bland game that puts no fears to rest. So, what are the fears? Like, Assassin's Creed Shadows, it's a DEI, it's a DEI game, they went out of their way to make sure this was absolutely the opposite of what their, like, loyal fan base, their, like, lockstep player count was asking for. And I mean, and I'm referencing to, like, they've always wanted like a Assassin's Creed based out of Japan, right? Like, you were telling me that, right?
Yeah, and their excuse back in the day was that it would be too generic. But they've obviously switched stances on that.
Yeah. Well, now it's not generic. No video game has ever put a black lead character and a female supporting character in the game before. That's never happened. Never.
Well, they're both leads, if that makes you feel better.
Oh man, even better. I mean, like, it's so original, so stunning and brave.
Yeah, so like a bunch of YouTubers got like 5 hours or so hands-on with the game, and I watched a couple of them.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems really just boring. Like, you can't play as Yasuke all the time because he has like no parkour skills, so you can't get anywhere with him. So you have to switch to the chick.
He has no parkour skills? What is he, like, tank?
No parkour, no stealth. Yeah, he can run through concrete, like, railings.
What?
On sidewalks.
What? That's
it's little Black Hulk, man.
Well, I mean, why didn't we have that in? I think that it's about time. In 2025, we needed Black Hulk. We had Red Hulk, we had Green Hulk, and obviously
Gray Hulk.
Gray Hulk. Obviously, Bruce Banner is white. So until we change that too, but I don't think they will.
Yeah, there's like no options. Like, in order to play as Yasuke, you're basically just running into situation, constantly fighting. There's no other way to play him.
I love accidentally discovering a reason why they haven't race swapped a character. Like, you can't make Hulk black because then he'd just be just always be angry.
He's always angry. Systemic racism makes me switch to the Hulk.
That's my secret cap. I'm always angry.
Always angry.
Man, that's funny. But yeah, so the streams, I mean, it sounds like the streams went fine as far as, like, the streams went good, but the game itself was buggy. You watched a few of them, so, like, is that what you were seeing? Was it just boring, or did you notice bugs too?
No one really talked about bugs, but I want to put it past it. It's a game that's coming out in current year. It's going to come out buggy, and then they'll patch it later on because no one puts out a finished product anymore.
Oh, man, last year we got a few, right? I mean, Black Myth Wukong, Space Marines 2. I mean, we got a couple of good, like, fully polished. I would say, I would make the argument, and people might find flaws in this, but I would say Black Ops 6 was complete. It wasn't a buggy mess coming out of the gate. I think maybe they had... Yeah, I don't even think their first patch wasn't even related to like, mechanical issues in the game. I think they had a few multiplayer issues that they cleaned up a little, but I mean, even
yeah, surprisingly, the Veilguard came out pretty polished, even though a lot of it sucked in certain aspects. But
Marvel Rivals was complete. Marvel Rivals was a complete game. That was, I'm still blown away. I'm still blown away.
Chinese, man.
They do it good, man. What do I say? Like,
good.
I mean, I have opinions, but I have an opinion, but I can't complain about their game quality. Like, if every video game we ever got came out of China from now on, I might be okay with that.
Well, they're making Western games better than the Westerners, so.
Exactly, but also they made a couple of anime that are on par with Japanese anime, and maybe even you might even make the case that they're better.
Such as
Don.
Oh,
Don is like it's like at the top of a lot of watch lists right now. And
I think it's a FOMO anime.
FOMO.
Yeah, where people like have to watch it in order to be in the
know.
zeitgeist.
Oh, I
I
see what you're saying. I see what you're saying, and I think so. That's why, I mean, that was the big reason why I got into it. It was there was so much hype around it, and then there was so much hype around it, and then it became. Then it actually was decent. Like the anime itself isn't that fun. I didn't really care about the anime's quality that much, but I mean, it was. I mean, it was fine. It was just okay. I would say I wouldn't make the argument that it's like peak anime. And I'm just I'm just going back and looking at Dan to make sure I'm correct. The manga it's a Japanese manga, but I was pretty sure that the anime itself was put out by a Chinese studio, which would have been the argument I was trying to make. I'm trying to confirm the studio.
Oh, you might be wrong.
I mean, typical, classic James. Yes, I was wrong. Science Saru Inc. Out of Japan is the studio that put out Don to Don. What about Fire Force? Wasn't Fire Force China? It's Fire Force Japan too.
Fire Force are the same people that did Soul Eater? No.
Oh yeah, it was. Yep. Hold on. Chinese anime. Let me see what are the best Chinese anime? I'm trying to think of. I'm sure there's something I'm missing here. There was definitely at least one game that I thought, or one show that I thought was awesome. And this is not where I'm gonna find it.
It's just gonna give you all the Chinese anime.
Yeah, what was it? Highly recommend Soul do. Yeah, I'm not seeing whatever's on the top of my mind. I've got one in my brain, but I cannot picture.
I don't think I've seen any of those.
Yeah, I don't recognize these names either. I'm gonna surrender on my topic or on my.
But anyway.
Yeah, retreat on my point.
Assassin's Creed is not looking great for Ubisoft.
Well, I mean, the last several months about it, they got. Not only were the fans pissed off. First off, the fandom was pissed off. You had a lot of shills coming out defending it. You had your classic journalists like coming out and saying shit about the people who were critiquing Yasuke. They had the history fucked up. They had the representation fucked up. They had like the way they were telling the history about it was so bad that literally Japanese legislators came into the argument. It's like you have pop culture spreading to politics in Japan. And
I never thought about this, but I think Ryan Kinnell brought it up. It's the first Assassin's Creed game where you actually play as someone who existed in history.
Oh, that's
instead of being like a written in character where you're surrounded by people that live in it.
No,
when you're playing as a historical figure.
And they got it wrong.
They got it wrong.
They got it wrong. They're like, we could. You know what we love? We love black stories. Let's tell a white person's perspective of a black story. Let's change it up.
In Japan.
I love how they struggled to find black stories out of Africa, and they're just like, we'll just do this one guy who kind of is known in Japan. Well,
they did Africa with Origins, and everyone liked Bayek as a character in Origins was generally well received.
Well, and so we have Ubisoft's Twitch channel, which boasts over 1.1 million followers, barely managed to peak 15,000 viewers. The live stream was intended to highlight the game's new and improved gameplay, reportedly. Let's see. We got like 15 seconds from them. Let's play it.
Sounds good.
Hold on.
Oh,
hello.
Hello.
Little dog on the screen.
He's not sure.
He's not
Wow.
sure. We're not cool like that yet. Don't worry, I will earn your.
So I mean, I wish there was more to that.
Could they not pet it?
They couldn't pet it. They couldn't pet it. They weren't able to interact with it, and the dog kind of panned its camera towards them, but didn't follow them, or didn't like engage with them at all. Besides panning its camera.
You can't kill it. Oh, you can't hunt animals in this game? but
Okay.
you can kill indiscriminately.
You can't hunt animals in this game? That's like,
Yeah, like in
why?
all the other ones, you can hunt animals and upgrade gear and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's more of a like a I don't know, like Japanese culture. Like in Ghost of Tsushima, you
Mhm.
can't hunt certain animals and whatnot.
Okay. So like
But-
in America, you're not allowed to hunt the bald eagle. That-
We love to hunt deer in America. They hate that shit in Japan.
Really? I mean,
True
there's
story.
well, I suppose that wow, I wonder how much yeah, anyway, it doesn't really matter about the deer thing. It's like I mean, the
But you
hunting
can kill random civilians,
yes.
and you get XP from it too.
Really? Oh, I feel like you could farm that pretty easily. I feel like that's
Just
not
go around the whole city slaughtering everyone.
dude, I mean, so do you think we talked about this originally? I mean, we've covered this game quite a bit, and in a lot of the topics, it in a lot of the times we've covered it, it's circled back to how will this game do? And I think a lot of people were really expecting that this game would still perform insanely well, regardless of all the flack and all the like media attention around it, the bugs, whether or not the game is or isn't boring. I mean, all of these issues with the game. Has your perspective changed on that at all? Do you still think this game will be successful just because it's an Assassin's Creed game?
Uh, maybe because like Valhalla was considered one of the worst, and that was their best performing game.
Well, so
So it's kind of hard to tell. I mean, like I'm out. Valhalla. No, I guess I played Mirage, which that sucked. But I'm kind of out with Assassin's Creed.
because we have this other story. I'm not switching topics, but the story goes: EA stock drops as Dragon Age the Veilguard misses sales mark by 50%. Like EA is much bigger than Ubisoft, and if they can't predict their market or market size, I mean, it might be an indicator that the industry is more like aware than I think even you and I are thinking. I mean, if Veilguard missed by 50%, so I mean,
Which I don't know what kind of numbers they wanted 3 million copies sold or something.
yeah,
and
so
I think
it goes EA CEO Andrew Wilson confirmed the game engaged approximately 1.5 million players, which is 50% lower than expected. So yeah, if Dragon Age Veilguard missed its player count or its prospective audience count of by 1.5 million, and it's Dragon Age Veilguard, I don't see any reason.
Right.
I mean, maybe that tells us a little bit more about like what'll happen with Assassin's Creed, because yeah, if EA can't predict that correctly, Ubisoft definitely can't. I mean, like, what about Star Wars Outlaws? Like, Star Wars Outlaws is a Star Wars game, which should have like a lock-in audience too, right? I mean, I don't know if it's different for Star Wars games. Seems like they spit out so many that unless it's a AAA game, then just a big deal. It maybe.
Okay, I wanted some perspective when it came to Veilguard. So they about 1.5 they sold. I was like, well, how good did Baldur's Gate 3 do? And they did 5.5. So
Whoa! I didn't know that. That's a new number
yeah,
for me.
I thought it was like I didn't think that many people played it. I know it's like highly regarded and everything, but it's a very niche game.
Yeah, I mean, Baldur's Gate. I mean, Baldur's Gate covers a lot of elements. But it is still a turn-based RPG, fantasy RPG. I mean, the fact that who is the audience for that? You have Dungeons and Dragons fans, you have fantasy RPG players, you have strategy players, you have competitive min-maxers, you have people who like stories, with like evolving stories with consequential dialogue. You have the people who like really just come in to see Shadowheart. And so I mean, they have a huge. I
I
mean,
came here from the subreddit R34 Baldur's Gate.
exactly. It's like that's at least 1 million players right there.
Yeah, and Veilguard, they made their game to be as accessible as possible to try to hit everyone, and apparently it got no one.
Yeah, it turns out if you don't have a target audience, or if your target audience is so small that they don't like exist practically in the marketplace, that your game
Yes.
might not succeed. But that's
When you're trying to please everyone, you end up pleasing no one, kind of thing.
well, and isn't that kind of what we're talking about? Assassin's Creed Shadows. It's
Same, yeah.
I mean, I think that depending on how you look at this, I think you could still make the case that Assassin's Creed is like Assassin's Creed is not a dead franchise. It's still alive. It still has a loyal player base. This will not turn off everyone. It's still like it still means a little bit to the like keep in perspective that there is an industry around it. It's not just Assassin's Creed that you have to think about when you're trying to predict what's going to happen with this stuff, right?
Yeah, and I mean, like, you got all these people that aren't in the news zeitgeist either. They see a Japanese Assassin's Creed game, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, get it.
Normies. we call
normies. Fucking normies.
fucking normies. We say normies affectionately, everybody. Like, we love you, even the normies, especially the normies.
You're all stupid.
Stupid. Yeah. Why are you so dumb? Uncle Rod.
I think it'll do fine. It's not gonna hit what they wanted to or what previous games did, but
Right.
I don't know.
I mean, and that's pretty much all there is to really say about it. We'll have to wait and see. When does it release again? Is it March or February, or is it later?
February 14th.
So it's soon, only a couple weeks out.
Yeah, Valentine's Day.
Oh man, there's nothing represents love more than Japanese
Black History Month.
/ Black History Month. Oh yeah. Did you hear Donald Trump is looking at switching Pride Month to Veterans Month or something like? I think it's I don't know what the actual word he says was, but
Be better. I'm sick of my birthday being gay as hell.
yeah, she is freaking gay.
So gay.
For chicken it make it gay and lame. All right.
Well,
Well,
like Veilguard, like, so BioWare is a company that I really liked back in the day.
once upon a time.
And this is going to, their failure with the Veilguard is going to affect Mass Effect 4, which they're currently working on.
Ooh, that's
And if Mass Effect 4 comes out to be something like Veilguard, where it's horrible writing, shitty dialogue and whatnot,
yep.
then you miss the whole point.
You know what?
It's like Mass Effect is one of the best written series.
Right. Well, and Elon Musk brought it up, and I'm sure he wasn't the first one to have this idea, but it's like AI generated dialogue trees would be really amazing. And do you like?
Oh yeah, where it's constantly switching, like in game, it's like
Yeah.
procedurally generated, like almost,
Mhm.
where it's like, all right, your response, yeah,
Well, and
that would be cool. It could have led to some weird conversations at the same time, though.
yeah, it would be interesting. Did you ever see that AI game where it's like oh, how does it work? So you are trapped in your girlfriend's apartment with her, and she's an insane psycho killer, and her dialogue and
Relatable.
her so life. So her dialogue is driven by I think it's specifically ChatGPT or OpenAI. And basically anything you do that attempts to leave that is too obvious will trigger her to attempt to kill you. But you could otherwise talk to her. You could you could type your responses and your words to her, what your character says to her, and then she'll engage with that. And like depending on how the objective of the game is to escape. I've seen a few gameplays of that. It's funny. It's funny. It's in like anime art style, so it's like a drawn out like kind of an interactive game like that. It's probably like really small in like context, the development, everything like that. It's really, really small. You made a point about Ubisoft and the financials effect, like the financials behind Veilguard and other games, like really affecting Mass Effect coming up. Well, that's actually kind of what happens in the next stories.
I tell myself that everything will end up alright. Just push yourself, test yourself, figure out what you like, and find your limits, don't be rigid, always work towards a prime. Surround yourself with open minds, people can change your life. A few friends with intent can help you feel alive. Find a passion, take some action, and with a little time, just be patient, make a statement, try to enjoy your life.